It was supposed to be a romantic getaway, a one-year anniversary celebration, but instead, a newlywed husband brutally murders his wife in the woods of Vermont. After that, he lives with her body for days before dismembering her remains. What's more, the husband admits to all of this while on the stand and still asks the jury to acquit him. This case dates back to October of 2021 when 22-year-old Emily Jean Schwartz went on an anniversary trip with her husband, Joseph Ferlazzo. The pair had been married for just 1 year and decided to celebrate that anniversary by visiting family. They arrived in this remote area of Bolton, Vermont. It's not too far from the Canadian border. That was October 15th, 2021. Just hours after they arrived and set up shop in their camper, prosecutors say Joseph shot and killed Emily after an argument. Let's backtrack just a bit though. Here's how Joseph himself talks about his relationship with Emily.
How would you describe your relationship besides magnetic?
Euphoric.
You were happy?
I was happy.
Why?
We just clicked. I feel like we were both just kind of traveling the same wavelength.
So she's was a good bit younger than you, right?
That is correct.
Did the age difference ever become an issue in your relationship?
If it was an issue, it was really just to onlookers, our friends. Some of our friends had opinions about relationships with an age difference. But to me personally, no, I did not have an issue. We got along very well, and I just told my friends, like, it is what it is. Like, it's going good, so.
Everything was good.
Right.
And did there come a point where you and Emily decided to get married?
Yes.
How did that happen?
Well, that happened at the end of the summer. I want to say it was somewhere around August. There was finally enough money in the account to afford first, last, and security, and we found an apartment. Actually, she found the apartment. We were looking at several places, and then she had just, out of happenstance, just found an ad that was recently put on. She called the number. The guy was like actually there. He's like, I'm here right now. Just come over right now. We just sort of fell into it, and we liked the place. And I said, if you lived in Vermont, we could definitely see each other a lot more. You wouldn't have to travel back and forth to New Hampshire. And she jumped at it. So we moved in together in August. The place was in Essex. And then I want to say it was maybe a month into living there. It was like September. I don't exactly remember what I was doing, or if I had stepped out, or if I had just come back, or if I was working with someone. And then I just remember I came into the kitchen and she had this look on her face, and I was like, what's going on with you? And she breaks out into this huge smile, and she pulls out this ring and a card, and she hands me the ring, and I read the card, and it says, will you marry me? Check yes or no. And there's 2 check boxes with a yes and a no next to them. And then I look up, and she's like filming me. And I took the card and I checked yes, and it was the cutest thing.
But Joseph says there were some issues with the relationship too.
There was obvious flaws to the communication breakdown, and it started to spur arguments. I left my device open for her to see who I was talking to.
Your phone?
My phone.
Yes.
And it led to, it led to violence. And
explain what you mean
like
by
physical abuse started coming into our relationship, where she would go through my phone and then respond by beating on me.
So you just testified that it was normal for to lash out physically when a person gets frustrated?
Or it might not be normal for everyone, but most of my relationships, the women in my life, have been aggressive and I guess I could say physically abusive.
You tolerated being hit?
Yes.
Am I hearing you?
Yes.
We heard all this from Joseph himself when he testified in his own defense at trial. He also described the start of their anniversary trip in October 2021.
The day that we left to come on our trip.
Yes.
I'm just thinking. Sorry. There's in the morning we woke up. She was happy, very happy, very excited, maybe a little anxious.
Anxious about what?
Objection, Your Honor. Mr. Ferlazzo does not know what Emily was anxious about.
That's true. What are you basing what did you observe?
I observed her being anxious to meet my family.
Okay. That's fine. And we've heard testimony that you didn't actually leave New Hampshire until late in the afternoon, maybe early evening. Is that right? Do you remember?
Yes, this was our first road trip as a family, so it's very exciting.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Emily too. She was in a good mood.
Yeah, she was super excited to take Rosie out, and she was stoked to meet Nikki and Ariel.
Okay. So you get to Vermont, and where in Bolton do you go?
We went to the Bear Run condos. My sister rented one of the she rented a Airbnb condo.
Just hours into the trip, Joseph says the mood changed.
I saw her drinking.
Okay. What?
Must have just been Red Bull.
Okay.
But I was having Red Bull vodkas. That's what I was.
That's what you were drinking?
Yeah.
So you had a drink, and your recollection is that she had a drink?
Yeah.
And was there any conversation going on while you two were having a drink?
Yeah, so there was conversation because I was like, yo, you're really hostile. Like, what's going on? Like, it can't just be the smoke cleared out. Like, why are you so hostile? And she said that. She's like, well, I have a dilemma. And I was like, what do you mean you have a dilemma?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the hearsay.
You started telling us a little bit about the specifics of what Emily may have said, but without going into specifics. We saw in the interview that she was saying hurtful things to you. Is that a fair statement?
I saw that in the interview, yes.
And is that your recollection of what you were hearing?
From watching the video.
No, I don't want to know what you saw in the video. I want to know what you remember.
From what I remember of our conversation?
Yes.
Well, I started telling you about our conversation, but then there was an issue with it, so I don't know what to do. We had gotten to the point where there was a discussion of a dilemma, and when I inquired about it, she showed me on her device that she had typed a very lengthy in the notes app. There was a multiple page. I don't know what you call it, but it was labeled dilemma. So I was like, okay, well, it seems like you have something to talk about. But then she deleted the note.
You saw that?
Yeah, she deleted it, and she said, I'm not going to talk about it. So.
How were you feeling about this conversation? How did it make you feel?
It made me feel like it was pages and pages, so it made me feel like she had something that needed to be expressed. And when she deleted it, I was sort of shocked that something that took that much effort wasn't going to be brought to my attention. I told her if you want to go, then go. I don't want you to be unhappy. If you don't want to be here, then don't be here. I ended up staying in the bus with her.
What was she doing?
Well, she was having a fit, really. She was cussing and saying how it was and how I was for not giving her money to go have an Uber and like leave the vacation. And
what were you doing?
I was on vacation, so I made another drink and I had some more to smoke. And
just to clarify, you were drinking vodka and Red Bull?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I remember dancing. I think I put some music on and I was just dancing with Remington. Yeah, just trying to enjoy the moment. Really, that's what I remember doing.
Joseph's defense rested on the theory that he shot and killed Emily in self-defense. Here's what he told jurors about all that.
Emily went from she was sitting up, kind of like cross-legged, and then she went to like laying on her side, still just like scrolling away, just looking at her device, and then at one point she lashed out and started cursing at me about the candles being lit.
What did she do, if anything?
Well, she was, she was cursing. I don't know. It wasn't really, in my opinion, it wasn't really bright, but she was cursing.
I mean, the lighting wasn't overly bright.
Right. I didn't turn any of the, we had like battery powered LED lights, and none of those were on. It was just candlelight. So
Let me interrupt you there, just to ask you about, there's been testimony that Emily's phone was powered off and so was yours at some point that evening. Why was that?
we turned our phones off to conserve battery life. I didn't think it was overly bright. I think there might have been 5 to 7 candles lit. So
How many?
5 to 7 candles lit.
Okay, of varying sizes?
All the candles were about the same size, like a large,
Like a
sort of,
Yankee candle?
Yankee candle. Yeah.
Like, so you're
Yeah, gesturing.
about,
Whatever it is.
to me, it looks like about,
7, 8
how many,
inches.
you're saying about 7 or 8 inches tall?
Yes.
And what's the diameter?
Possibly like a 4-inch diameter.
Okay, so 7 or 8 of those large candles.
Right. Yeah.
And what happened?
After her telling me to turn the candles off, and I said it's not that bright, like you could always just roll over. She got up and ran at me and grabbed one of the candles, and it was like all I could do to like grab the lid of it and like put it on top of it, and she like pulled it away and started swinging it at me and hitting me with it.
Where?
She hit me in like my neck and head, and in my arms. I was like blocking. I think she might have like hit me in the chest. But I like wrestled the candle away from her, like put it back on the counter, and then there was like a flurry of punches and kicks. That she started punching and kicking me, and
Where?
in my shoulders and arms, my forearms.
Closed fist?
Yeah, closed fist, trying to punch my face, and I had to restrain her. I had to like physically grab her by her arms and like hold her arms down, and she kept kicking. She actually kicked Remy. And I like sort of turned myself sideways and I like pushed her back to the side of the bed. And I told her that that we're not your punching bags. And
You said what?
I told her that we weren't her punching bags.
We weren't.
She kicked Remy and she was kicking me and punching me. And I pushed her back, And I told Remy, I was like, yo, we're gonna take a walk.
After taking the dog outside of the camper, Joseph says he came back and the argument just picked up where it left off.
She shouted off. She like threw an elbow at me, and elbowed me in my groin.
Did that hurt?
Yeah, it hurt. It was like right to my genitals.
Did you say anything when she said off?
I didn't say anything when she said off. I got hit in the groin, and I said, no more hitting. And so we had like a bunch of throw pillows that we like lined around the bed, like the top of the bed where we slept. So one of the throw pillows was right there, and I swatted her with the throw pillow, and I said, "Stop hitting." That's when it happened.
What happened?
She said, "That's it. You're dead." And she threw her arm under her pillow, and she pulls her hand out with the Taurus. And
How were you feeling?
I was feeling horrified. Just
Were
like,
you afraid?
I was terrified. Like there was like as soon as I saw that, like I just felt like this like wave of heat, like just like red hot. And she started like pushing her body up in an instant, and I'm like, no. And like I don't know, like she wasn't stopping. And I was holding my Glock, and she started just like coming up at me, and I just fired.
Why?
She was gonna shoot me.
And you were afraid?
Very.
You fired twice.
That's
Do you
right.
remember firing twice?
All I remember is like feeling like three things. It was like I felt like it was like boom, 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 and it was like two shots, and then her body like dropping.
What happened after you shot her?
I yelled at her, like I said, "Are you kidding?" And like, why the hell would you do that?
Did you know she was dead?
I picked her up.
You're asking for a sidebar escort, but don't come up here.
After this, Joseph says he basically continued life as normal. He drank some vodka, made some coffee in the morning, and told his sister that Emily was out with friends. In reality, she was dead in the camper. He's got an interesting reason for all his lying, too.
Why were you lying to all these people about where Emily was?
Well, so it's like this. I had talked to my grandmother about coming to Pennsylvania to help get her out of her home and put her into a safer home, either like a one-story home or like an assisted living. And Emily and I were going to go to Pennsylvania to help make that process happen. And if I would have told people, then the police would have been called, and I would be detained, and I would not be able to help my grandmother get her life together. So I wanted to move forward with my plans, even though what happened made it impossible.
So your testimony is that you lied because you wanted to get back to Pennsylvania to help your grandmother move.
Yes.
Why didn't you just go back to Pennsylvania instead of hanging around all weekend?
Well, so I took the opportunity to be with my sister, as I hadn't seen her in years.
Hey, all you business owners or anyone hoping to start a side hustle, I have to take a quick second and tell you about something that can seriously level up your business game. It's Odoo.com and their incredible accounting app. You know how keeping track of finances can get messy and even confusing? Well, Odoo makes it super simple. With their accounting app, you can manage invoices, expenses, and even get financial reports all in one place. Take a look at this clean interface. It's designed to save you time and reduce headaches. You can automate those repetitive tasks, which means you'll just have more time to focus on what you really love, growing your business. So if you want to take control of your finances and make your accounting life a whole lot easier, check out Odoo's accounting app at our link odoo.com/lcnews32 and try Odoo for free today. When Emily went a few days without speaking to her family, they got worried and reported her missing. Vermont law enforcement began the investigation, and Joseph lied to them too.
Hey, Joseph, this is Trooper Cody, Vermont State Police. Hey, so, I just got off the phone with your father-in-law, and it sounds like there's some concern about maybe where Emily may be. Okay, what can you... It sounds like you... What do we know at this point, I guess? What can you tell me? And you went to the gas station, the one, just down the street there? Yeah, I went down the street, got some gas, and grabbed a Coke, and thought she wanted maybe a soda. She went to bring a drink, and she was gone. So, I don't know who picked her up. She didn't tell me. I drove up and down the road looking to see if she, started down the road. And I drove up and down, too. Both ways then. I didn't see her walk in. Okay. So you figured the Uber or somebody picked her up? Yes, said she was getting an Uber. Okay. But she had her cell phone with her at that time? Yes. And her purse or wallet or something with some money? Yeah, she had a wallet with cards in it. Okay. And now about what time was this? Did you drop her off, would you say? Maybe a little afternoon, maybe 12:30. 12:30. When Emily jumped out of the van, did she have her cell phone with her? Yeah. You're positive on that? Yeah. I don't have it.
But prosecutors say Joseph actually did have Emily's phone, and he turned it off not long after her murder. About 4 days into all of this, Joseph decided it was time to dismember Emily's body.
Do you remember inflicting any stab wounds into Emily's body after she was dead?
No.
Do you remember cutting her up?
I have one flash of memory where I cut into her leg with a knife, and then I stopped. It made me sick, and I remember being sick, like nauseous and vomiting, And that's all I remember is being sick.
Just once?
No, I drank. I drank and got sick multiple times. But I don't remember any other part of that incident.
But those closest to Joseph could tell something was up. Here's his friend Spencer Lemons.
What did he say to you?
He said, "Let's go pick up my van."
Did you know where his van was?
He said it was at someone's house called the Langs.
Did you know where that residence was?
No, ma'am.
Had you ever been there before?
No, ma'am.
Did he tell you why he wanted to get the van?
He said he wanted to get the van up to my house because that was the original plan, and he wanted to get it done now.
Did Mr. Ferlazzo go with you?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was Mr. Ferlazzo's demeanor like while you were driving in the car?
He was quiet.
Did you ask him why he was quiet?
I did ask him if there was anything going on, and he seemed a little distraught. He said, "I just want to get to the bus." And so I had him point the directions out to me as we went.
Okay, keep your voice up.
He pointed the directions out to me as we went.
Okay. And generally speaking, where were you traveling to?
We were traveling to St. Albans.
And about how long would it take to get from your home to St. Albans?
About 30 minutes.
Did you arrive in St. Albans?
Yes, ma'am.
And what happened when you arrived in St. Albans?
We went in St. Albans. He gave me directions to where to go, and we arrived at where his bus was parked, and I assume that's the Langs.
What did you see when you arrived where the bus was parked?
I saw several patrol SUVs parked outside the residence.
And when you say patrol SUVs, do you mean police
These
cars?
vehicles,
Do you remember how many you saw?
3 or 4.
What did you think when you saw those police vehicles?
Alarm bells went off in my head, and then he said, "Just go to the end of the road." It was a dead-end road, and he said, "Turn around." And then I turned around, and he instructed me to drive past the police.
When he told you to turn around, what did that make you think?
That made me think something was not correct in the situation, and thus it prompted me to continue to prod him for what's going on.
Okay, and did you do that?
I did. I asked him, "What's going on, man? You need to tell me what's going on. If I'm going to be driving past police officers, I need to know what is going on."
And did he respond to you?
He did.
How did he respond?
He responded to me with, "There's a lot going on. I wish I could see my grandmother." And then I said, "What is going on?" He said, "Emily is back in the van." I said, "Is Emily alive?" He said, "No." And I asked, "Did you hurt her?" And he said, "Yes."
Right away, this same friend called 911.
You stated this to me when you said, we gotta go back to my house. Like, are those cops for you? What is going on? And I said, "What is going on?" He says, "My wife was in, he said, I did something really bad." I said, "What did you do?" And he said that his wife is inside that box. And I said, "Is she alive?" And he goes, "No, I don't want to go to prison. Get on my phone right now. I'm calling the cops."
And did he put up a fight when you asked him to get out?
No, he was like, she's like, "Man, I don't want to go to prison. Don't take me back there." I said, and then he just started getting fidgety, and I don't know if he's got anything on him. I mean, yes, I am armed, but I'm not looking at any confrontation, so I'll just get out of my car.
Okay. All right, hold on a second.
Because I got a family and wife and kids. I don't need this crap around me.
Okay, no, I completely understand. Do you know what his wife's name is?
Her name was Emily Ferlazzo. I'm guessing was. Oh, God. Emily, E-M-L-Y.
Joseph Ferlazzo was arrested and charged with Emily's murder. His case went to trial just last month, and here's how prosecutors wrapped up their side of the story.
In October of 2021, Mr. Ferlazzo and his wife Emily made a plan to come to Vermont for a weekend for their 1-year anniversary. You heard from Emily's mother that Emily was excited. She was looking forward to meeting her sister-in-law, Nicole. She was in a good mood, and she was looking forward to the trip. They drove up here in their van with their dog from New Hampshire on the evening of Friday, October 15th of 2021. They arrived in Vermont at the Bear Run condos at 7:20 p.m. They parked at a condo complex on Bear Run in Bolton. They met with Nicole for about 15 minutes out in the parking lot inside the van with a plan for Mr. Ferlazzo and Emily to meet them inside the Airbnb to catch up, watch Netflix, and hang out. But they never did. And we know that Emily sent her last Facebook message to her family at 8:13 p.m. We know that Mr. Ferlazzo sent a text message to his sister Nicole inside the Airbnb at 9:39 p.m. Hey, we're gonna take the night to rest, smiley face. You still drink coffee? We'll see you tomorrow morning. Shortly after, Emily's last location data from her Facebook is logged as 10:14 p.m. Instead of going inside and spending time with his sister, Mr. Ferlazzo and Emily argued. They argued because Mr. Ferlazzo had brought Emily on their 1-year anniversary to the very same condo complex that his ex-wife lived. They argued because Mr. Ferlazzo seemed to believe that he didn't have any obligations to be monogamous with his wife, be faithful to her, and she told him she was done. She told him she did not want to be with him, that she could not do it anymore, and that she wanted to leave. And 1 minute after midnight, Mr. Ferlazzo turns off his phone. Done arguing, Emily laid down in bed while Mr. Ferlazzo stayed up and stewed. He became enraged at Emily while she lay in bed scrolling on her phone with her head on her pillow. Mr. Ferlazzo sat on the couch, thinking, planning. But instead of walking away from Emily, going into his sister's Airbnb, out of the van, instead he executes his plan. He got up from the couch, he went to the closet, he grabbed this Glock 19 with this silencer. He walked over to the bed. Emily's head was resting on this pillow. He picked up this throw pillow from the couch. He jumped onto the bed. He put this throw pillow over her face, and he shot her once and twice, directly into the left side of her head, killing her. And he again sleeps in the van with Emily's body still in the shower. And the next day, he goes out to Burlington with his sister. He gets coffee, and again, he goes out to eat. And again, he says nothing to Nicole about what he did to Emily. And after gallivanting around downtown, he heads back to St. Albans, and on his way, he stops at Hannaford to buy bleach. Because despite him continuing with his life as if nothing has happened, he does have a mess to clean up. And amongst all of these activities, he decides that he needs to make her body easier to carry, easier to move, and easier to discard. Mr. Ferlazzo uses this serrated saw and dismembers her arms, her legs, her feet, and her head. He dismembers them from her torso. The same torso absolutely riddled with stab wounds, including one striking her heart. 3 different knives had her DNA on them. At least 3 different knives were used to stab her heart 1 time, her abdomen 8 times, and her back 9 times. Then he puts each piece of her body in garbage bags.
The defense followed up with their closing argument, saying Joseph killed Emily out of self-defense.
What he told you yesterday is not what he told the police. He explained to you that his memory of what happened ended at some point that weekend. He remembers the events now. He remembers the events leading up to him shooting Emily. He remembers some of the events of Saturday, what he did. He doesn't remember much, if anything, of Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. He told you that after he had had an opportunity to sleep for a couple of days, he came to and he started having nightmares and remembering things, bits and pieces. And even as he talked to you yesterday, he said his memory is fragmented, very fragmented. And he is struggling to understand what happened and why. What he told you yesterday is that over the course of their relationship, Emily had become physically abusive to him. The reasons the state would have you believe is that the state would have you believe that he's an egomaniac. It's up to you to decide if you saw any evidence of that in his demeanor or his testimony yesterday, that he shot her because she disrespected him. He told you clearly about how many times she had hit him with objects, with cell phone, with her fists, with a laptop, with a wine bottle, gave him a black eye once. And he never hit her back. He said, I would take her arms and restrain her. I would, until she calmed down and say, we don't hit, we don't hit. They even went to a counselor together to address issues in their relationship. He said, I grew up with domestic violence and I didn't want to bring a child into a relationship like that. That was his experience of interacting with Emily. Your job is to assess what you heard him say yesterday, how he appeared, what you think about whether he's lying or not. That's your job. I don't envy you because I think it's a hard job, but that's what you will be asked to do. What do you believe is the truth? What he told you yesterday or what he said to the police?
The next day, the 12-person jury returned a verdict.
How do you find Mr. Ferlazzo on the count of first-degree murder, guilty or not guilty? Ms. Jantz, would you like us to poll?
I would, please.
And Mr. Zagu, is that your verdict, guilty or not guilty? Ms. Henderson, guilty or not guilty? Ms. Nault, guilty or not guilty? Ms. Francescani, guilty or not guilty? Mr. Fredrickson, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
And Mr. Williams, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Ms. Major, guilty or not guilty? Mr. Wing, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Ms. Hammond, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Mr. Kareem, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
And Ms. Kelvis, guilty or not guilty? So says the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your service. It's clear you were very thoughtful throughout the trial.
Joseph Ferlazzo now faces life in prison without parole. He hasn't officially been sentenced just yet, but the state says they hope for a February sentencing date. Reporting for Law&Crime, I'm Gillespie.